to the WWE Tag Team title rematch, Team Uppercats versus the Usos. And, this was another solid, tag team bout. I actually even kind of liked it a little bit more than their match last night at Fastlane. I think only because of the slight progression that we got with certain people involved. Usos were very aggressive in this match. At one point, they got a double team where they were both had Kid up, and then they just slammed him down on the security barricade. So they were really focused. I think they really wanted to get the booking across that the Usos were hungry challengers. This was a night where they really just weren't going to be beat, and they were in complete control. There was one really cool spot where I want to say, I guess, Jey Uso got an electric chair drop on Cesaro, and he was going for the cover, and Kid had gotten the tag because they were going to do the deadlift suplex elbow drop, but then Kid did it, the elbow drop, the springboard, on the Uso while he was making the pin attempt. So I thought that was very clever by Tyson Kidd. Ultimately, though, the match does have a breakdown. Kid tries using the ropes for leverage to get a pinfall attempt at one point. Naomi pushes the legs off. Natalya gets huffy about it. She shoves Naomi. And then when the one Uso gets the super kick on Tyson and goes for the splash, she pulls the Uso, messing up the splash, causing the DQ. So Team Uppercats are still the champions, even though the Usos get the victory. So I guess now Natalya is committed to this team. She has chosen her alignment. And I think we can call Natalya a heel now.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, I really like the fact that there's solidarity now. I know we like to take our little jabs and pot shots at Natalya, but I do think it's nice that she's no longer playing this distraught kind of wife. Like, oh, he's so talented, but I don't like how he gets victories and all that stuff. No. It's good to see that she realizes they have gold in their camp and she wants to protect it. I think that's wonderful. Afterwards, Naomi, I think, kind of gets a little bit of retribution on Natalya, and Natalya seems like she hurt her leg, of course, just, selling and all that stuff. So then Team Uppercats kind of retreat while the Usos look distraught, like, man, we had it. And that's pretty much that. We go from that to the Miz and Damien Mizdow backstage. And, Miz is upset because Mizdow was late, to put the roller on his jacket, I guess, to collect any, hairs and all that stuff. And while, Mizdow is doing that, Miz explains, I've done everything there is to do in the WWE except for one thing, and that's win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So I think this is, the first official mention we've gotten from this match within the WWE. So they are doing it again this year. And Miz seems to be the first entrant because, he's talking about if I win it, that opens up so many opportunities, and it'll be great promotional material for when the Marine 4 comes out in April. Mizdow cuts him off there, and he says, well, that's what I want to talk to you about. Ever since you relegated me to, your helper and no longer your stun double, I mean, people have been knocking on my door and calling me, and I'm even going to be a spokesperson for this commercial. So, again, we're continuing that train of Mizdow being the real star, and the Miz just being salty about it because he's not the leading man he would like to perceive himself to be. So then he just tells Mizdow to get to work. He takes the roller to the jacket, and that's pretty much that segment. So we know that Miz, and I'm assuming even Mizdow, are in the Battle Royal now.
Yeah. I don't know. I loved this segment because it kind of gave me, the warm and fuzzies for Sandow kind of getting this opportunity and then having these, all these big deals coming his way. It was just so cool. I love it. Sandow's awesome. Or Mizdow's awesome, whatever you want to call him. I don't care.
Absolutely, absolutely. We go from that to another Bray Wyatt promo. We get a recap of what he did at Fastlane, and then he cuts a promo on The Undertaker again, says he's going to, finish the job that was started at Mania, and he's just standing over this casket, and he says, there's no reason to hide. And he says, it's better down here anyway. And then he, concludes by saying, find me. He closes the lid of the casket. And that's that Bray Wyatt segment. I think Bray has been so on point. It's promos like this and what he's been doing all this while that made me fall in love with him in the first place. I get more and more excited for this matchup. I'm just wondering how it's all going to come about, at Mania, because Taker does still concern me. But Bray, at least for his part, has been incredibly on point. Ashton, do you want to say anything about this before we get into our next matchup?
No, sir. Get into it.
All right, Stardust versus Jack Swagger. Apparently they're having this match because Jack Swagger tweeted out that, hey, Dusty Rhodes is a real American, and a person without a family is like a man without a country. So, he's making that comparison. And this is a really brief matchup, not really anything worth noting. Stardust does counter the Swagger bomb at one point, and he goes for a disaster kick. Swagger, of course, does the catch finisher, because 2K16 will be a thing, and, he gets the Patriot lock. Stardust does make it to the rope, but he's not really even able to do much with that, because then Goldust music hits, and he comes out. Stardust is distracted. Swagger gets the Patriot Lock again, and Stardust quickly taps out. I don't even think Swagger got it fully in when Stardust started to tap out.
Yeah.
So very quick submission victory. That kind of irked me a little bit, to be honest, but I let it go. You see Goldust just kind of like, I told you, so he's still kind of playing the head games. Fans are chanting Cody, so they're still continuing that whole thing. So we know that this program clearly wasn't over at Fastlane. They will be getting their Mania matchup. Congratulations for those two guys, specifically Goldust, because I know this is what he's wanted. I hope they seize the opportunity and they have a great match.
Yeah. I like this whole storyline. I just got to say, Goldust is such a great trooper just for spending the hour or so that it takes for him to put his makeup on, only to stand at the top of the ramp and point for 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. So good stuff. But
this was one of my highlights of the night during Fastlane.
Yeah.
The whole, and especially the post-match Cody Rhodes / Stardust promo. Oh, and by the way, that's another thing that's really, really been getting on my nerves. Now, all of a sudden, after he's been Stardust for all these months, commentary is starting to accidentally, hard quotes there, call Stardust Cody Rhodes, and then they forget it, and then they sort of like halfway through fixed it and correct themselves. Like now, rather than saying, oh yeah, it's Stardust, they say, oh yeah, it's Stardust. Like, shut up! You know who it is. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I hate it, man. It's like those little tiny speech tics that I always notice, and you know it's intentional too. You know that at some time between last night and today, Vince McMahon held some kind of a producers meeting with these guys and said, listen, guys, we really want you to get across the idea that Stardust is Cody Rhodes. So now every time you're getting ready to say Stardust, start to say Cody Rhodes and then act like you meant to say Stardust. And they're like, okay, Vince, I think we can do that. And now they're doing it. And it's so obnoxious. And Vince is so terrible for giving them those directions. And it makes me want to pull my freaking hair out. And I love my hair, so that's a terrible thing for me to do.
Oh, man. Well, I can certainly see where you're coming from. I personally just can't wait to see this concluded. I don't even say that in a bad way, because I do think Cody Rhodes' promo to Dusty Rhodes and all that stuff was so on point at Fastlane. I thought it was so good, and just reminds us how great he is. I just want to see him, do something else. But then again, in this crowded picture and the circumstances of the world title and everything, by something else, I'd have to probably settle for an Intercontinental title, kind of feud in this and that, and I'm kind of done with that too. So I'm kind of in limbo with Cody Rhodes, but at least he's doing this, and I'm enjoying it. So with that said, we then go to John Cena coming out, because it's like, what's on the horizon now for John Cena? Long story short here, he says, I got no problem with the fact that I lost. Two guys went out and they killed each other for the United States Championship. But, he says that, the way you won, you had a chance to prove that you were a hero to everybody, and you amounted to nothing more than a coward. Well, Rusev's not going to stand for that, so his music hits and he comes out. Lana, speaks to the stage. And she says, listen, you gave up last night. So you can say anything that you want, but you proved last night that your life is a lie. You failed your country, all that stuff. Then Rusev takes the mic, and I loved what he said here. He said, you've always said that it was your time, but it's not. It's my time now. Nobody can beat me. And Cena, I want you to admit that you're beneath me, and that Russia, and that America is beneath Russia, and that me and Russia were superior to you in America. And then this is where it kind of gets a little groan-inducing for me, and I know it was for you too, Ashton, because I heard some of your remarks, because now we get back to the whole America versus Russia thing, and I gave this feud credit at least up to Fastlane, because they stayed away from that crap, but we're right back to it, and Cena's like, oh, well, you can say whatever you want about me, but I won't have you diss the United States of America. We keep getting back up, we keep getting better, we never quit, and I'm taking that United States Championship back to me with America where it belongs, at the grandest stage of them all, yes or no. So pretty much laying down the gauntlet for a WrestleMania rematch. And Rusev just tells him point blank, dude, why do you deserve a rematch? I beat you at Fastlane. I have nothing else to prove. So as far as your request for a rematch, the answer is no. And then his music hits, and then while he's kind of celebrating, just shoving it in Cena's face, the Russian flag comes down with Cena still in the ring, and it's just great imagery, and Cena, go screw yourself. This was great.
Absolutely. I am going to, 100% agree with you. I absolutely loved, and it was great because it was like Cena didn't even know what to say. I love that Rusev just straight up shut him down. Like, no, you don't deserve it, so you're not going to get one. And Cena just looked baffled. Like, I've never been told no to before. What do I do?
My stock in this company is dropping. Yeah, that's right. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so good for Rusev for standing up for himself. I think he really proved himself last night at Fastlane. Not to say that he was hard or anything before, but he really showed up in that match. And I've been hearing people say the same thing, and I'm glad to see it. He has really come into his own. Really proud of him. So good for him. He doesn't have to take Cena's crap.